Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to what is unabashedly one of my very favorite things to do here in the Canyon. That is the rear view. Because there are a great many things that I never got to try. I began my journey with toy cars that go slow in the year of our Lord 2020. And I began my lifelong affliction with toy cars that go a variety of speeds in around 1985. So, we picked up on the slow car thing much later. So, what is installed inside our main baseline right now is a perfect of what was then and what is now. For perfect example, underneath this, right about straight down from here, underneath this bench, is a little white bin labeled Old Speed Controls, and then on another little label fed out of the label machine, and Motors. And in that box is a Novak GTB with a Novak brushless 10.5, and I bought it remanufactured. This was the first brushless system that I ever bought, and it has been sitting in that box. I'd cut the power plug off many moons ago. The first I ever bought, and it has been sitting in that box or one of its companion boxes for quite literally decades. What is fitted inside baseline right now is, as far as my eye can tell, I mean, there is definitely a familial lineage here. Some of the stuff has been moved around. This is the Novak GOAT 3S, designed specifically for crawling applications. Still has the giant wobbly bobbly, whatever that capacitor is for. If it is to be understood correctly, the BEC fitted in there is either 4 or 5 volts, producing as much as a single amp. Novak is, of course, no more. Novak and Tekin. Back in ye olden times, your choices, you were either a Novak guy or you were a Tekin guy. All the way through my brushed career, I was a Tekin guy. Tekin regenerating supersonic. The T9, the G12, I was a Tekin man. We're going way back. I didn't own a single product from Hobbywing until the late 2010. Maybe after 2010. It was Novak and Tekin all the way down. Tekin began getting more expensive as time went on, and I started to trend back. One of the finest products ever owned, manufactured by an electronics manufacturer, was the Novak switch module. For those of you old enough to remember, there was a time when you had to use crystals. You had radios that were not 2.4 gigahertz. They were either AM or FM, and you had to have an actual physical crystal. One went in the receiver, one went in the transmitter. They could not be mixed up because, for some reason, witchcraft, presumably, they were different. And there was a very limited number of them. And if you went to a place where other vehicles were being driven and 2 vehicles had the same crystals, chaos ensued. So, Novak Switch just had a little switch. And inside was apparently tiny wizards. And you could just select any channel. So you looked at the board. Every place you went had a different method of displaying what channel was available. One was famously little sections of PVC pipe about this long with numbers stuck on them that had the number of the corresponding channel, like 73 or 75. And then you had to carry that around. No radios on in the pits. Items like this harken back to that time, when things were simpler. No startup tones. We're before that. Luckily, baseline runs direct power, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Okay, this is one of those things. I'll make another sideways reference around. Similar to my career in tiny toy cars, I was getting on a bicycle right around the same time of life. Like, the bicycle was primary mode of transportation at the age of this. I rode my Univega 10-speed mountain bike to the local hobby shop many times to buy stuff like this. And then I had a long hiatus in between, right? 85, and then all of a sudden we're fast forwarding way into the future. I didn't get on a bike again until like 2015. So there was I rode my bike, and then I got a driver's license, and then bikes are for nerds, and then, and RC cars, you fall in, you fall out. The same thing with the innovations, right? Brushless got me back in when brushless innovated. LiPo batteries pulled me back in. Rock crawlers pulled me back into the hobby. With bicycles, the STI, integrated shifting. On a road bike, you got these two little guys. They go like this, and they also go like this. This shifts, this makes you stop. This makes you shift, this makes you stop. You don't have to reach down under the bike to change gears. Integrated shifting that works reliably brought me back into the hobby. I missed this whole era. And I would have missed this whole era because I wish I had another guy here on the bench. The performance of the most inexpensive option today. We're talking like a stock 1060 speed control mated to a motor that the manufacturer cost is probably between $2 and $3 American dollars, is going to exhibit a level of low speed control exceeding this. There definitely ain't no field-oriented control. You can just stop it. But nevertheless, this is a relic of times gone by. I have long stated that there's effectively no reason to put an in-runner in a rock crawler unless that in-runner says Hobby Wing Fusion on the side. There's a room for brushed motors. I am still doing my part to keep brushed alive. Okay, all right. The bird, like he chimes 15. Their outrunners are a thing. They are a legitimate thing, and you will get more power out of this than you will out of all of that. It's got a fan on it. I don't own a single rock crawler with a fan on it. I've never needed one with a fan on it. Nevertheless, the fact that it is Novak, and the sad fact that Novak is gone, we're on. This is the. It's not the crescendo. This is the descendo. I don't know enough about music. This is the part where we slide down in tempo because Novak is gone. And so many of the great things of my youth and many's youths are gone. Like the companies are just gone. HPI is basically gone now. Element, which began in 2019, technically slightly before I got into Cars That Go Slow, is hanging on by its fingernails. Like what a time to be alive. So you could, right now, you could build a toy car that goes slow and outfit it almost exclusively with parts, components, and electronics from manufacturers that don't exist anymore, which is on one level insane, on another level almost completely to be expected. So we're going to take it out and we're going to leisurely drive it on the rocks before it gets too hot. It is very early in the AM, but that does not matter. The heat, she is waving. Yesterday it was 106, 107. Day before was 109. So we get out there early. We try the Novak GOAT 3S in rear view format. And it's about the best you can get. I had to go to one of those internet archives to find a manual, an online manual, and then I had to find a second piece of the manual to change motor direction, and that was on a completely different website altogether. That's how you know you've gotten in your time machine and you've gone way back in time. So come back in time with me as we give a little bit of a rear view to the Novak GOAT. How the other half used to live. I have zero mental recollection of the performance of a GT3B from Novak, the one that's sitting over there, GTB. All I know is that at the time, I have a nebulous memory that after going from a terrible brushed motor and speed control on NiCad batteries, that was like getting in a rocket ship. It is about 70, 20, 90 out here, give or take on the numbers, close enough to approximate. And I can tell you that time has slipped once again into the future, because on the drive back, I said, it feels oddly smooth when you release the trigger and then repress the trigger. And I was like, something's not right. So on the phone, we returned to manualslib.com to see what's the deal. The default profile is profile number 2, and the name of that profile is worm drive. And I was like, oh, worm drive means you don't need drag brake. You actually don't want drag brake, because that drag brake is performed mechanically. The gears themselves can only rotate under power. So, worm drive. Another thing that didn't make it here into the future. GOAT 3S on an old low-C comp crawler would be probably the jam. So I got into the flashing of the lights, and I set it back to profile number 1, which I believe the default drag brake is set to, still have manual's lib open. The default drag brake is set to 25%. Drag hill brake percentage for brushless profile. So apparently it is set at level 3, which they say is 3%. It goes 1, 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, and then at maximum turned all the way up to 10. It says 15%. Drag brake for brush mode goes 10, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, which is insane. The 20, 25, 30 is particularly insane. So I did what anyone else would do, and if there'd been an option to turn it to 11, I would have. So we turned it to 10, and like, if that is well and truly 15% drag brake, you can see the microscopic motion. He is scarcely perceptibly moving back. If this is indeed 15%, then what were they doing back then? What were they doing? Because it's wizardry. The old Castle controllers, notably the Mamba Max Pro, has a drag brake setting of, it's an odd number. It's like 216%, something like 217%. It feels about the same as the Novak at 15%. Also worthy of note, Baseline's everyday motor is a Hobbywing Fusion SE 1200, which is fitted with a 24-tooth pinion. The smallest pinion that you can comfortably adjust on a Stealth XF gearbox is an 18-tooth, as there's a sticker on the side of the Novak motor in there that says 21.5, and that is turns, like, just, it's brushless. Just tell it what the KV is supposed to be. I put an 18-tooth pinion in it, and it sounded god-awful. It made an absolute racket. What is that? What is that? Okay, wait. Every once in a while, first tip of the throttle goes conk. Like that there's something mechanical going on. I mean, it swings back around. It is ever the pendulum. Because does this feel as good as a Fusion? No. I would put it, honestly, it has that soft trigger feel. Like, I would put it basically parallel with a 1080 G2 brushed controller. It feels very similar to that. What can we sustain? Yeah, the super low is just not there. The technology had not gotten there. When we're right here at the super low, yeah, it's almost like and follow me here. It's almost like when they made this, they didn't really have the equipment to make what they needed. Like, the technology didn't exist. Once you get up here in the middle, at the initial tip-in, it barely feels censored. But we are talking about, I mean, by today's standards, this is almost a relic. The closest I could find on the internet anyway. Novak out of business as of 2016. The GOAT released around 2009. So it's not like we're going deep into the archives. There's a review of it on Big Squid RC, Team Novak GOAT Brushless Crawler System Review. And sadly, Big Squid RC doesn't put dates on the reviews, so there's no real way to tell when this was posted. The GOAT. Brushless motor system programmed with custom crawler software. Yeah, it's done by Blinky Lights, as many things were done at the time. Down at the very bottom, Big Squid rating, 9.5 out of 10 tentacles. This is a must-have crawler system, short of perfect, missing a USB connection. It's crazy to think that, in 16 years, it seems like with the proliferation of technologies, you gotta think, the GOAT 3S, if 2009 is indeed correct for the year of release, the GOAT 3S came out in the same year as the iPhone 3GS. So that would put the Hobbywing Fusions in or around the same time as, I don't know, iPhone 10, iPhone 11. I mean, it's just progression of technology, is it not? What's crazy is that, well, this, for one, that sometimes there's an initial tip-in where that feeling of throttle, kapow. As I said, this came out 11 years before I dipped my toes into tiny cars that go slow. At the time, this had, I have to assume, had to be almost revolutionary. Like, bow, bow. And it seems crazy to me. Coming from an era of twist chargers, NiCad stick packs, getting your motor so hot that the end bell would get bluing on it from the heat, and race courses running in most classes 4-minute mains because that was all you could get out of a battery. And you had to have a sort of a decent motor to get 4 minutes out of a battery pack. Now what are they running in 8th scale e-buggy? 45 minutes? Only 45-minute mains? Or only 4 minutes. So this had to be revolutionary. It literally had to be revolutionary because let's say it like it is. Compared to other options, compared to things that have been unfortunate enough to have had modern or relatively modern castle componentry installed in them, this is somehow better than that. There's a real nice trick. It feels brushed. There's a real nice softness to it. You really have to get your brain used to the fact that the way that brushless motor be made on the inside, it sounds like you've got bad pinion mesh. It's got like a... But even the bump, like this is the componentry. You can actually hear the motor ramp up. It's almost like there's a reason that a guy will buy some sports car, insert the European brand of your favor and flavor. They will buy a sports car made in 1967 when objectively a 2004 Honda Accord, which is now 20 years, is now old enough to buy itself a beer, will do everything better. Corner better, handle better, be more comfortable. But this, okay. I was gonna wait. Oh, Pixies. Is there a risk of drag brake at 10? That motor desoldered itself. Do you know how hot you have to get a motor? I did the usual thing. I pressed that pad of that finger right there, right there. That motor is, I can feel the heat. If I put my hand right here, I can feel the heat of that motor on my hand. There is it just smells hot. It doesn't particularly smell, whoops, my apologies. It doesn't particularly smell like Pixies, but this is hot. Those are hot. That's not hot. That's not hot. If I can get to the servo. Servo's ice cold. Did we do it in? Do I need to fast forward apologies to the person who was kind enough to send this in so that I could rear view it? Have I killed another thing? Now, the speed control got warm, but not searingly hot, because if it had gotten searingly hot, like the foam, the tape, the sticky tape got a little bit loose, but it didn't come off. Fan was still running when I jumped up there, but I definitely saw in that sunlight, I don't know if the camera captured it, I definitely saw Pixies. We lost 2 wires. Yeah, that is still That is still giving off some heat. I will do a couple things. I will let that cool off for, now that I've burned my middle finger, for several hours. And then I will resolder it back together, and we will see if it lived or if it died. I owe an advanced apology to the person who loaned it. But you saw, I don't was this me? Did I do this? Am I cursed? I've killed a couple speed controls in my past, but it just smells hot. It smells hot. For those of you who know, if you've been in it long enough, you kind of know what hot smells like. It doesn't, and then there's dead. Dead has electrically dead has a different smell to it. So we're gonna let that cool off for a couple hours. We're gonna solder it back together, and we're gonna see if it still works. I'm gonna shoot out off an email or a DM or whatever I feel is more appropriate to the person whose vintage system I might have just killed. I'm gonna thank you all so much for watching. It was going swimmingly right up until it wasn't. I feel like we got about 10 or 11 minutes of runtime out of it, and it felt really good. And then there's just drag break of today is a different thing. It definitely is. So say a prayer for me. Hope for the best. I look forward to seeing you all next time. And what we do is we keep pushing forward. You know, we don't bury it. You know, I might have killed the goat. I might have killed the goat. Thanks so much, everybody. Tune in for whatever happens to come up next. In between now and then, please, when I'll do your very best, I'm getting ready. we will see what happens. It's not really the way you want to end the day, right? Sometimes it is how it be.